Story 1. My personal 10 commandments after a long life of really hard-learned life lessons. 1. In doubt, keep quiet. 2. Never ask a question if you don't want to know the answer. 3. Focus on yourself, you're the only one who's going to do it. Be nice to everybody. Be kind to the ones that deserve it. It's not about you. It's never actually about you. Time is unforgiving, do stuff now, tomorrow is too late. If you don't know something, learn or just acknowledge that you don't know. You should always protect people's dignity. You're a side character in everybody's life. Be an interesting one. 10. Nothing really matters unless you want it to. Pick carefully. Story 2. You can't solve a problem before you have it. Essentially, anxiety is pointless. Don't torture yourself with your own imagination of the future. If you have a problem, do what you can. When you've done all you can, it's all you can do. You can do a good job without having bad feelings. Honorable mention. You can't change the past, so learn from it, but don't dwell on it. It all comes down to live in the present. Story 3. That saving money is important. I had a bad shopping problem. I shopped for the sake of shopping, and on top of it, I made no effort to save. When I would get paid, I would pay my bills and then use everything left to shop and didn't save any of it. My fiancé, who was my boyfriend at this time, has always been a big saver and has never had a spending problem. He would always try to teach me the importance of saving and try to encourage me to chill out on my spending habits. I always thought he was being ridiculous and just didn't know how to have fun. Then a few years ago, my car got totaled and I had absolutely no money to get myself another vehicle. But my boyfriend, the same person that I always thought was being ridiculous about saving, had more than enough money saved and graciously bought me a new car. That was a hard dose of reality for me, and I have been saving instead of shopping ever since. Story 4. That nobody really knows what they are doing and we are all just trying to figure it out as we go. Oh, and always double check if you have toilet paper before sitting down. Trust me. Story 5. Pick your battles. Many battles aren't worth fighting. With your wife, who is otherwise great. With your boss, who knows something is stupid but has to do what he is told. With a cranky toddler who only wants to wear purple today. Conversely, don't be a doormat. Some battles are worth fighting. Some battles are worth fighting even if you think you will lose. Try to find your own principles and let them guide your judgment. Story 6. Time. Everything is about timing. If you're feeling hurt, give it time. If someone doesn't believe you about something, give it time. Are you anxious about something? Just wait. Life works in mysterious ways, and the only way to find out is to wait. Story 7. 1. Another person cannot make you happy. Only you can. You do not have to post everything on social media. Likewise, you do not have to overshare all the time. If you die today, your company will have a job posting to replace you by the end of the week or month. Take days off, paid time off, vacation, mental days, etc. This is all needed. Everyone has red flags. It is up to you to pay attention and act on them instead of ignoring them until it is too late. Your life is like a train ride, and your friends and families are the passengers. Some will leave a lot earlier, some later, while a handful will be there by your side until the end of the line, so choose your friends wisely. It takes hardly any energy to be a decent human being, but it takes a lot to be a jerk. Do not be a jerk, especially if you can hide behind a screen name on the internet. You are the main character in your life only. You are a side character at best for others and a non-player character for most. Treat others how you want to be treated, but understand that no one will be the person that you are. Otherwise, you will always be disappointed. Story 8. This is going to sound odd, but appreciate the small things. Not just the small things that make you happy, but I wake up every morning now, and am so grateful I have the ability to walk, run, speak, go to work, and so on. There will be a time when we all will not be able to do those things, so take care of yourself and be grateful for the things you can do. Story 9. Advocate for yourself above everything else. Mental health is important. Self-care is important. Nobody is going to do it for you, and nobody is going to make sure you do it. Story 10. You don't ever need to be honest with anyone, but never, ever, ever lie to yourself. Be completely honest with yourself, even if you don't like it sometimes. Story 11. Starvation, malnutrition, psychosocial disorder, heartbreak, addiction, and toxic friends brought me to my knees. They taught me that there is a certain way we are meant to live. We are meant to be healthy both physically and mentally, and to be in a good mood within a supportive environment. Story 12. Money isn't everything, especially if you have a mental illness. I changed jobs for the money, even though my old employer was accommodating regarding my mental health, and then crashed and burned because they expected me to do an insane amount of overtime. Sure, it was paid overtime, but the expectation that everyone works 4 or more hours of overtime every day is madness. I burned out within 4 months, got fired, and then I couldn't get another job because they gave me a bad reference that was just barely within the bounds of being legal. I only found out about it almost 3 years later when I asked my brother to request a reference from each of my previous employers. And bingo, found the culprit. Once I removed that company as a reference, I got a job almost immediately after not being able to get a job for 3 years. Those 3 unemployed years were the worst of my life. I lost everything. My house, my car, my kids, most of my possessions, and it left me with an insane amount of debt. I also became addicted to heavy drugs and was couch surfing with all of the addicts I knew who had a place to stay. I never thought I'd be able to claw my way out of that, but I finally managed it, and my life has improved so much since then. I still smoke weed for medicinal reasons, but I haven't touched anything stronger for over 15 years. I've been working for the same company for the same amount of time, and I've excelled at my work. These days I've rebuilt my life. I'm living in a nice big house, in a really nice neighborhood that my youngest son and I bought 4 years ago. My credit score is just a few points shy of being perfect. I'm now paying the fees so that my oldest son can buy his own home, something I wouldn't have been able to help with a year ago. So, improvements in leaps and bounds since I was a junkie. I'll never stop being a recovering drug addict because it's so easy to relapse with the right stimulus, but right now, it's relatively easy to remain sober. Story 13. When your parents die, you will forever feel untethered to this world. My mom died when I was 23. My dad died last year when I was 34. Being an adult orphan is the saddest and weirdest thing I've gone through in my life. It's hard reconciling that the 2 people who have loved me since I've taken my first breath are no longer here. I realize not everyone has a good relationship with their folks. This applies to any person in someone's life who has had a profound influence on you. Story 14. The most important quality you can nurture in yourself is to be unflappable. The moment you drop the ball and lose your composure, your credibility drops significantly. Story 15. Just because they are family doesn't mean you have to keep them around. I've cut off some family in my life, and it's like I can finally take a full breath. No one has the right to abuse you in any way. Story 16. That woman was attractive. Out of your league? Son, let women figure out why they won't be interested in you. Don't do it for them. Or to put it another way, it's not my job to tell myself no. There are plenty of other people who will be happy to do that for me. My job is to try anyway. Story 17. I was sick for over 10 years, in and out of hospitals. When I was 19, my doctor told me something that has saved my life more than once. He said, "No one knows your body better than you do. If you think there is something wrong, don't let them ignore you. Keep asking until they take you seriously." Thank you, Dr. Lusby. Story 18. Recognizing and letting go of things that aren't for you. Forcing things would only drain you. Learn to acknowledge that some things aren't meant for you, and letting them go just means redirection to other things that are best suited for you. Story 19. I have had several, but the most valuable are: 1. You can trust yourself, and that's about it. Buy the better value car for as much as you can afford. Pay in cash, don't finance it. Get insurance. Before having sex with a guy, ask yourself if you could raise a family with him for the next 25 years. Friends should be quality over quantity. If anyone expects you to choose between them and someone else, choose the someone else. Story 20. Compassion is key. It is the first thing we need at the start and the most important thing we need later. It's simple. You show compassion to yourself by doing nothing at all. It's not easy. The worse you feel, the harder it becomes to have compassion, and bad to even terrible feelings are a natural part of life. It's not about morality. It's something you and others need, not something you must do. Also, a personal theory. The most self-secure people are the ones who received the most compassion as children and therefore can have the most compassion for themselves as adults. Story 21:1. When people show you who they are, believe them. If they will do it to someone else, they will do it to you. Something I have always heard but only recently internalized. You cannot change someone. You cannot love them into being a better human. They have to want to change. Sometimes people just have bad intentions, and it is not your fault. Story 22. Stop procrastinating. If something needs doing, just get it done and over with so that you can relax with a clear conscience. If you keep at it, you end up spending less effort on fixing the things that needed fixing but you let get worse. Story 23. People don't always have bad intentions, and different people have different levels of honesty in their communications. This comes from being around some challenging individuals growing up. Just for example, someone told me that I remind them of Joey from Friends. Old me would think, oh, they think I'm not smart, like to eat, and because I'm Jewish. Reality. I'm handsome, a good friend, and can enjoy meatball parmesan. A better way to live my life. Story 24. The best things in life are really hard work sometimes and won't always be fun. You need to work through it. Marriage, college, good-paying job, friendships. Story 25. Always respect yourself and don't be afraid to set boundaries. Love your body. It works hard to keep you alive despite the medical issues you may be enduring. Story 26. Be more willing to walk away from bad behavior in other people. Defective people cause real harm whether they are crippled narcissists, micromanagers, or just cruel. Bad people exist, and there is usually no value in waiting around for them to become better people. Story 27. For me personally, to appreciate the silver linings, I had to go through a lot of really terrible things one after the other last year, and self-pity was not helping my state of mind. I turned around my thinking. Even with something bad, I looked at the upside of it. And you can find an upside to most things, I think, aside from intentionally malicious things like murder, rape, etc. For example, one of the things last year, not the worst by most people's standards, but it hit me the hardest, was losing my soul cat. She was the ray of light in a very dark period. She kept me alive. Literally. If you love animals, you understand. If not, this isn't for you. After a long period of grieving, when I was going through other things like cancer, I just had this feeling come over me. It was a realization, a light bulb moment. I was reading a post on Facebook in a cancer group with someone talking about their specific stage and type of cancer, and I felt immediate pity and empathy for this person. I thought, wow, this is a person far worse off than me. And then the realization, there will always be someone worse off. Always. And that's when my thinking went from, I can't believe I lost my girl and got cancer within a few months to, I had cancer. But it's non-aggressive. I'm lucky. It was caught early. And I lost my best friend, my soul cat, to, I was lucky enough to have had that in my life for 20 years. Completely changed me. I don't feel bad for myself concerning anything anymore. I started listing all the positive things in my life, and I started seeing people worse off than me in every single aspect. Totally rewired my brain. Story 28. That it is unfair. Good does not lead to good nor bad to bad. People steal, do not get caught, and live the good life. Others lie, cheat, and get elected. Some people stop to help a stranded motorist and get taken out by a speeding semi. There is no accounting for it. How you play the cards you are dealt, that is all that matters. Story 29. If you have no dependents, don't trouble your mind about your unsatisfactory job. Just quit and get yourself to community college. You may find a room to rent, scholarships, new friends, a much better deal for you. Forget the old life, the unsatisfactory job, the unsatisfactory friends. Don't take out those student loans for a university without really having a plan. Edit. Ditch the unsatisfactory car too, what with the repairs it needs, which you know very well that car isn't going to be around in a year or so. Get a bike or ride the bus from your new room to rent. Also, if you are really in trouble, declare bankruptcy. You'll get over it fairly soon. Don't pull your hair out trying to dig yourself out of a hole. Create a new reality. Be your own best friend. As soon as you can, open a credit union account. Forget bunks. Story 30. You can't pour from an empty cup. It has taken me way too many years to actually listen to this advice. I was almost permanently overstretched and overwhelmed from constantly taking on too much. I rarely said no to helping, and plenty took advantage of it. Not anymore. Story 31. There are a few. Being kind is for your own soul. Don't expect the outside world to give you anything for being kind. True friends stab you in the front. You can't please everyone. Even if you're the nicest person on the planet, there will still be those who hate how nice you are. Story 32. You can always start over. I realized early in law school that I hated it. Sunk cost fallacy my way through 3 years of it to get the Juris Doctor, and immediately crashed and burned when I had to do the work. Spent 20 years kind of bouncing around from job to job and industry to industry, directionless, and always underemployed. I found something I enjoyed, data governance, at 42. By taking on a project for my then current employer, where I was part-time, but letting me do his general data protection regulation compliance meant he didn't have to hire a real lawyer or, a good lawyer, so he let me. I immediately began retraining for a data governance career and got hired by a big tech company the week I turned 44. Been there 2.5 years now. I always just found the next thing and did it. I worked as an SAT tutor, I taught college philosophy, I worked in politics, I did secretarial work. I did whatever there was to stay afloat while searching for something that would be not soul-killing, law was, and had a career path. Teaching philosophy was fulfilling, but there was not a career path. You're not too old. You're not too dumb. You're not too late. You can start over. You can make a change. Whether that's leaving a bad marriage or finding a better career, it's never, ever too late to start over. I am 46 with a kid starting college in 18 months, and I just took my first undergraduate course in quantum computing, and I got an A. Because quantum is what's next, and where computing goes, regulators follow. I intend to know the nuts and bolts of it before anyone else with a law degree and data governance experience so that I can help set the agenda and I can help steer government policies. My kids are like, you did a quantum, since I'm a liberal artsy sort of person. But hey, let me take on stuff at the frontiers of science at 46. It's cool. I mean, I got an A.